Let's move to 3A, where you've got West Lafayette, always a powerhouse in 3A, coming in to face Concordia at Zollner Stadium on Friday night. This is going to be one of the best matchups in the entire state. You're talking about West Lafayette ranked 4th, Concordia ranked 7th, and I think playing quite a bit better than their ranking thus far in the season. Where do you see this game going? What are some of the key points for you as West Lafayette travels to play the Cadets?
Concordia just got to keep doing business. I mean, last week we saw them do it against Bishop Luers. Now, that final score I don't think was indicative of how close that game was for the most majority of 3 quarters. But Concordia just came out and really took it to Bishop Luers, particularly in the second half, was able to pull away. And I think as long as Concordia comes in confident but not arrogant, which they have not done all year, they just come in, business-like attitude. They're just, you watch them, they're unspectacular. It's very businesslike, and you emerged from that game last Friday. You go, that was a win, but it wasn't great. But I mean, they blew out Bishop Luers. So keep it up. I think vertically is a big importance for them. Peter Morrison at the quarterback, I think, as much praise as we've given him, is still pretty underrated in the area. And I think in the West Lafayette area, too, as well. I think they're in for a treat when they watch Peter Morrison on Friday.
And you take a look at West Lafayette, what they were able to do last week in a win against Twin Lakes. They had almost 1,600 yards of total offense. Hood at the running back position had over 200 rushing yards before halftime. 4 touchdowns, and then Mikey Kidwell, their quarterback.
I know seems like he's been there forever.
I know he was in that conversation of 10 or 12 players at the beginning of the season to watch for Mr. Football based on his success and based on the team's success over the years. How do they slow that offense down? Because a lot like New Haven, when we talk about Concordia, we talk about Peter Morrison, Peterson Curlegrand, Mark Mallers, Grahovac. We talk about the offensive guys, but their defense has been really solid too for Tim Manigault.
Yeah, and it's a lot of those same guys that are playing defense for them too. So we kind of look at it, Mallers had a huge game last week, the 3 touchdown receptions, but 3 interceptions as well. So guys like that, Peterson, Curlegrand, playing very well defensively. And I do think that's what it comes down to on Friday, is those guys that are traditionally making the plays offensively, do they step up and make some big defensive plays like they did against Bishop Luers?
And Peter Morrison, we've talked about him all season long. I don't know if there's a more accurate passer. I know, McCormick's numbers percentage-wise are pretty darn good. But when you take a look at stepping up and making plays, you look at Peter Morrison, he's a little bit of a shorter guy. You think, I don't know. But he always wiggles his way out and makes the right throw.
Yeah.
How much are they going to rely on him this week against a really good West Lafayette defense?
I was really impressed with Peter Morrison last week, and we've talked about Luers quarterback Arian Nieves and his ability to extend plays with his scrambling ability. And Peter Morrison did that +1 last week. He was really able to extend plays, escape trouble, keep his eyes downfield, take off when he needed to. Was very impressed with him to be able to extend plays, and that grows very important when you are taking on very good defenses, which West Lafayette has in the playoffs. And I think that's the key. We talk about his arm strength and his leadership, but can he make plays on the fly? Can he scramble? Can he get loose and keep his eyes downfield, make some throws? He's going to have to do some more of that on Friday.
And to me, when you talk about losses in a season, Concordia's got 2 losses. It was a 1-point loss where a field goal hit the front of the crossbar against Homestead, who is still alive in 6A, mind you, and then a loss to Snyder in which the score, I believe, was 41-20. But
I think they were up at half.
Yeah, but it was a ball game really until the 4th quarter. Of course, Snyder's still alive and ranked number 1. Those are their 2 losses this season. I mean, maybe Concordia it hasn't gotten enough credit throughout the state, because I think most people in the state would pick West Lafayette based on tradition. Concordia is every bit as good, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And with all due respect to West Lafayette, similar to Adams Central last week taking on Monroe Central, that Monroe Central was their biggest game against the toughest opponent was Adams Central last week. And I think that's similar. I think Concordia has played a better schedule. I think they're more prepared to win a regional championship game based on what they've faced through the first 11, 12 weeks of the season thus far compared to West Lafayette. Not saying West Lafayette can't win. I just feel that Concordia is more battle-tested than West Lafayette at this point.